Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Galton. I have Elder Kim B. Clark. Elder Clark was born March 20th, 1949. He served a full-time mission in the South German Mission. He married Sue Lorraine Hunt in 1971, and they have 7 children. He got his bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Harvard, all of which are in economics. He did attend BYU for a short time right after his mission, but decided to go back to Harvard to finish his education. He said that the reason he went to BYU for such a short time was so that he could meet his wife, Sue. His academic career: he became a member of the faculty at the Harvard Business School in 1978 and was named dean in 1995. He served as dean of Harvard Business School until 2005. In 2005, he was made president of BYU Idaho by President Hinckley. He served as president until 2015. He was replaced by President Gilbert, who is the current president of BYU Idaho. Fun fact, I was born and raised in Rexburg, Idaho, so I was familiar with the changing of presidents for BYU Idaho. When my dad first started working at BYU Idaho in the mechanical engineering department, he was hired by President Bednar, and then we were able to attend the inauguration of President Clark in 2005. Some of his church callings are bishop, scout leader, elders quorum president, Sunday school teacher, counselor, to a stake mission president, Area 70, and now he currently serves as a member of the first quorum of the 70 and the commissioner of church education. And I put those in there just so you can get an idea of what kind of a leader he has been. He has served in many leadership capacities throughout the church. During his inaugural speech, when he first joined BYU Idaho, he introduced the concept of leadership with a little L, and that involves leadership at every level of society. And he said, "Our mission, our very purpose, is to educate, develop, and prepare disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ. This purpose is deeply rooted in this university," meaning BYU Idaho. "The Lord watches over this university in a powerful way. Our purpose is to help them become His true followers, His true disciples, a light to the world. Leadership," he explained, "has a small L. We want our students to provide the kind of leadership that serves and inspires, first and foremost in their families and in the church and in their communities and in their work." He quoted Elder Eyring when he said, "Those graduates of BYU Idaho will become legendary for their capacity to build the people around them and add value wherever they serve." So leadership with a little L emphasizes our ability to be leaders in everyday life, regardless of our personal situation or status, whether that be in the church or in our communities. Again, leadership at every level of society. He made a couple of observations about leadership. Leadership is always a moral act. Leaders will always teach others about responsible leadership, whether they intend to or not. He addressed the paradox of me first leadership in an address at BYU, and I'm going to show you a little bit of that, of what he meant by that. Bear with me a little bit. My technology was not working the way I wanted it to this morning. Okay, so this clip was given by Elder Clark in 2015, I think, at the Wheatley Institute, which is part of BYU. And this is what he had to say on the paradox of me first and why it is not a valuable way to lead.
So I want you to picture in your mind the Harvard Business School faculty. Okay, so keep your mind. I don't know what your image of Harvard Business School is, but your image probably understates the issue. Okay? Think of the Harvard Business School faculty, all right? Arrayed in a room. There's like 200 and something of them. The most prestigious business school in the world, populated by faculty of great international renown. Okay? All right, so I'm in there. I'm down in the bottom, and I'm talking to these people, all of whom got where they are by single-minded pursuit of their own interest. Do you have the picture now? And this is what I told them. It's a paradox about responsibility. This is what I told them. I said, all right, this is what I believe. If we together work in such a way that we are willing to invest in each other, even if it causes us individually to sacrifice our own interest, we will end up creating an organization that is so powerful in its influence and in its culture that individually we will end up better off than if we selfishly pursue our own interests. It's a paradox. It's a paradox. Because you have to believe that if I take time, you know, if Peter shows up in my office and I'm working on a paper and I'm trying to write, and Peter appears in my office door and wants to talk to me, I have to set that aside. I have to believe that by setting this aside and spending time with Peter rather than my own work, it will eventually create a culture that's very powerful, and I will be better off someday. Only not this day. Right? I mean, that's exactly what you do. But I believe that. I believed it very strongly at HBS, and I believe it strongly now. We saw it begin to happen. One of the sweetest things that happened to me in my time at HBS was a letter I got. It was a letter from one of my colleagues who is a absolutely brilliant economist, internationally renowned, brilliant person, who grew up in a country different from either this one or the one we were in, where he saw people pursuing their own interests to the max. And he saw the consequences of it. And he learned that only the cynics survive. Only people who are ruthless and cynical survive. So when I started talking about, you know, investing in other people, I'll be better off, he just thought that was complete nonsense. It's just kind of like, you gotta be kidding. I have a dean who was a complete naif. You know, just doesn't understand the real world at all. And I got this very sweet letter from him when I left. And he wrote me this long letter, and he said, you know, when you first talked about all this stuff, this is nonsense. This is crazy. But as time went on, he said, I decided that I would experiment with it. And so I began to behave the way you, and he said, I have to tell you, I am a convert. He said, I now believe what you believe because I've practiced it and I've watched the change it's made in my life. So it's hard, but it's very powerful. Responsibility, where we're talking about here, is very powerful for exactly the reasons that Kim talked about.
So in that story, he talks about a fellow faculty member who had seen in the business world that putting himself first was the only way to succeed. And President Clark was instead explaining the idea of if you put others first, you will help each other grow and you'll be better for it. And that is one of the many leadership qualities that he exemplified as the president of BYU Idaho, and as he is the leader of church, the commissioner of church education, he is trying to embed that ideology. So as you guys watch this, you can watch it again and try and think about the answers to some of these questions. I do have down here, I have other YouTube clips about different speeches that he gave. I really enjoyed watching his teaching method and his ability to portray his ideals of good leadership. I think you guys might enjoy it. These questions are, do you have any experience with Elder Clark's paradox of me first, whether that's in a personal setting or a professional setting, or someone else's example of putting themselves first and you saw the results? We would love to hear about it, and we could talk about maybe a little bit more how that affects people in general. And then what do you think are some of the challenges of little L leadership that he was talking about? And there is a clip for that in the other on the slide marked other video clips. There is a clip of a devotional that he gave at BYU Idaho explaining a little bit where he gets the idea for the little L leadership from the scriptures, from Matthew. And so if you want to explore that a little bit more. And then, why do you think Elder Clark refers to leadership as a moral act? If you watch the beginning part of the clip I just showed you, he goes into that and he explains a little bit why he believes that. And if you guys want to watch that and decide if you agree or disagree with him and why, you could explain a little bit about that. And then, how can you teach responsible leadership whether you intend to or not, is another concept that he explained in that same video. So that would be interesting if you guys want to explore his ideas a little bit more. I found them very, very interesting. I hope you guys have learned something from this. I certainly learned a lot watching the various different ways that he has taught about leadership, and I look forward to discussing it with you.